Welcome back. This week, we are digging into some huge stories in the world of AI. We're talking Elon Musk's absolutely epic new chip project, a massive, much-needed upgrade for Siri, and a brand new test that has all the top AI models totally stumped. All right, let's get into it. So let's just start with a number, 0.37%. What is that? Well, it's the best score any AI has been able to get on a new test that, humans can solve with 100% accuracy. We're going to come back to what that really means later on, but it just perfectly sets the stage for a week of massive, almost sci-fi ambition clashing with some very, very real limits. So first up, let's look at how the titans of tech are literally building the future. And listen, we're not talking about small tweaks here. These are gigantic foundational bets on the infrastructure, the models, and the interfaces that are going to define the next era of AI. And when you talk about big bets, it's pretty hard not to start with Elon Musk. He just dropped details on his latest and maybe his wildest project yet, something he's calling Terafab. So what on earth is Terafab? Well, it's this massive joint facility between Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI. And their goal, get this, to produce 1 terawatt of AI compute every single year. To put that in perspective, that's 50 times the current world output. It's insane. Musk wants total vertical integration, doing everything from the chip logic to the final testing all in one place. He's even planning 2 types of chips, one for Tesla and his Optimus robots, and another space-grade chip for AI satellites. Yeah, he's betting that computing in space is going to be cheaper than on the ground in just a couple of years. It's this wild vision connecting AI's future to like a galactic civilization. All right, so from building the chips to building the next big model, let's hop over to OpenAI, where Sam Altman is making some really big shifts in priority. And it's all centered around a new model they've codenamed Spud. And wow, this is a major pivot. OpenAI is actually shutting down its super impressive Sora video generator. So why would they do that? To free up all that precious computing power for Spud. Sources are saying that employees were calling Sora a drag on resources. I mean, this move even puts their billion-dollar partnership with Disney on ice. It's a huge signal that OpenAI is going all in on their core model, because they see Spud as the real key to accelerating the entire economy. Meanwhile, over at Meta, the whole AI agent revolution is already well underway. But internally, Mark Zuckerberg is apparently developing his own personal CEO agent just to get quick answers and completely bypass the normal corporate ladder. But it's not just him. Their staff are building their own tools, like one called MyClaw, which reads their work files and can even negotiate with other bots, and another called Second Brain, which is basically an AI chief of staff that can find answers from any document inside the company. It's a really fascinating glimpse into how a huge company is trying to use AI to get faster and leaner from the inside out. So we've got the infrastructure, we've got the models, but what about how we actually use them? Well, enter Hark. It's a brand new stealth startup from Adcock, the founder of Figure AI, and he is serious. He's putting $100 million of his own cash into this thing. He wants to build a new interface to AGI. The mission is incredibly ambitious. Create a whole family of devices that are paired with a personalized AI that literally learns to think like you do. He's put together an all-star team with talent from Apple, Google, and Tesla, and he's already locked down thousands of the latest NVIDIA B200 GPUs. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. And speaking of interfaces, Apple is finally making its big move. New reports are saying they're going to completely revamp Siri for iOS 27. We're talking about a standalone Siri app for the very first time, plus a new chatbot-style experience they're calling Ask Siri. It's designed to be way more contextual. It'll be able to read your messages and emails and actually take actions inside your other apps. Especially after Apple Intelligence didn't exactly wow everyone, this feels like a make-or-break moment for Apple's AI ambitions. Okay, so the big players are making these huge, expensive bets. But what's actually happening under the hood? Let's jump to our next section and see how the code itself is getting smarter, which is what's making all these new things possible in the first place. Okay, first up is this absolutely stunning new feature from Anthropic that just perfectly shows where all this is going. It lets their AI, Claude, take direct control of your Mac. The whole process is so simple. You just give it a task on your phone, and then Claude remotely takes over your desktop, clicking, typing, and jumping between apps to get the job done for you. I mean, this is the future of delegation, right? Where you might not even have to open your laptop to get work done. Next, we've got a really interesting new model from Luma AI. It's called Uni 1. Now, what's so cool about this is the architecture. See, Unlike most image models, Uni 1 processes text and visuals through one single unified pipeline. And that lets it essentially think as it creates, which gives it a much deeper understanding of the real world. Luma is mostly known for video, so this is a new direction for them, but this could be the foundation for a single, really powerful creative agent. Now let's talk about efficiency, because Google just dropped a new algorithm with some numbers that are just staggering. So what's the first major benefit? Well, as you can see, it shrinks an AI model's memory requirements by over 6 times. But that's not all. It also delivers up to an 8 times speed up in processing on NVIDIA's best chips. And here's the crucial part. It does all of this with almost zero loss in accuracy. This is a huge, huge deal for making powerful AI cheaper and much faster to run for everyone. And for our last technical breakthrough, we have something truly mind-bending from Meta. They've open-sourced Tribe V2, which is an AI model that's trained on brain scans. And just look at the scale up here. Version 1 was trained on just 4 volunteers. Version 2, over 700. And the result is wild. The AI's synthetic predictions of brain activity are now so accurate, they actually outperform most real fMRI recordings. This could totally revolutionize neuroscience research. So we've seen the grand visions and the incredible technical leaps. For our last section, let's bring it all down to earth and take a look at the human-AI boundary, how this tech is being applied, tested, and sometimes even restricted out in the real world. What does $2 billion have to do with cows? Well, it's the new potential valuation for a startup out of New Zealand called Halter, and they're using AI to completely modernize agriculture. Their secret weapon is something they call the Cowgorithm. Basically, it's an AI system that uses these Solent-powered collars that go on the cattle. These collars can create virtual fences, let ranchers herd their cattle remotely just using an app, and they track animal health by collecting over 6,000 data points every single minute. It's just a perfect example of AI creating massive value in an industry that really hasn't changed in centuries. But for all of that progress, let's circle right back to where we started. Remember that 0.37%? Well, here are the scores on that new ARC-AGI3 reasoning test. Humans get 100%, but look at the AIs. Google's Gemini Pro is at the very top, with just 0.37%, GPT's at 0.26%, and Grok, a flat 0. This test is specifically designed to measure genuine reasoning, and it shows just how far even our most advanced models still have to go. Right, so this growing gap between what AI can do and how it can reason is forcing platforms to take a stand, and we're seeing totally different approaches. You've got Reddit, which is going with a labeling system, marking automated accounts and then letting individual communities set their own rules. Then you have Wikipedia, which just voted almost unanimously to completely ban using LLMs for writing or rewriting articles. So 2 huge platforms, 2 totally different answers to the exact same problem. And then, right in the middle of all this, you've got Apple. While everyone else is busy building walls or drawing lines in the sand, Apple is planning to just become a neutral platform. They're opening up the new Siri to let users choose their favorite AI assistant, whether that's from Google, OpenAI, or somebody else. It's such a classic Apple move, right? Just skip the model war and let your hardware do all the talking. So that's the week in AI. You've got these trillion-dollar bets on future infrastructure, incredible technical leaps forward, and real-world apps that are changing industries that are centuries old. But at the exact same time, you see our very best models failing basic reasoning tests, and this huge debate growing over who gets to control the output. Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most crucial question: as AI writes our future, who gets to be the editor? Thanks for joining me for this week's breakdown, and we'll see you next week.